Welcome back to our channel. The Russia-Ukraine war has entered its fourth year. A conflict that many predicted would end quickly has instead turned into a grueling war of attrition. Russia, with all its military might, is finding it difficult to achieve total victory. Why? What is preventing this military giant from completely taking control of Ukraine? In this video, we will examine 7 fundamental reasons why this war is stuck in limbo and struggling to find an end. Let's get started. The first reason lies in a fatal strategic error at the start of the invasion. Russia adopted the classic Soviet doctrine of deep battle, which aimed to destroy enemy defenses deeply and quickly. However, its execution was a complete failure. Moscow sent too few troops, expecting Kiev to fall in a matter of days. They underestimated Ukrainian resistance and the Ukrainian army's local terrain knowledge. As a result, their logistics were in disarray. Long convoys became trapped, and troops ran out of fuel. The deep battle, which relied on high mobility, failed due to logistical weaknesses and unexpectedly fierce resistance. This failure gave Ukraine valuable time to organize resistance and seek Western assistance. The second reason is Ukraine's extraordinary resilience and adaptability. President Zelensky's leadership, while remaining in Kyiv, has generated heroic national solidarity. Not only the army, but also ordinary citizens have persevered. More importantly, the Ukrainian military has demonstrated agility and rapid learning. With the help of Western intelligence, they have adopted asymmetric warfare tactics. The use of drones, FPV drones, and precision artillery systems has provided a counterbalance to Russia's numerical superiority. Their domestic defense industry has also grown rapidly, now supplying 40% of the war effort. They have not only survived, but also continued to innovate, making every step forward costly for Russia. The third reason is the massive and sustained Western military and financial support. Russia's prediction that the West would quickly tire proved wrong. Instead of waning, commitment has crystallized. Advanced weaponry such as HIMARS, Patriot air defense systems, and modern tanks have transformed the battlefield. Most recently, the UK has even set aside a special fund for the possibility of sending troops as part of a post-war security guarantee. In addition to weapons, Ukraine also receives training, real-time satellite intelligence, and technological support. This partnership allows Ukraine, a smaller country, to defend itself and launch effective counterattacks. For Russia, this means they are not just fighting against Ukraine, but against the industrial and technological capabilities of dozens of allied nations. The fourth reason stems from the internal limitations of the Russian military itself. Despite its large number of personnel and weapons, it faced serious operational constraints. First, the quality of its troops. Many of its elite forces were killed early in the war. They then relied on mobilized troops and paramilitary groups whose training and morale were lower. Second, the front was too wide. Holding captured territory required a very large force to be deployed on the defensive, thus reducing the strength for a new major offensive. Third, its internal defenses were vulnerable. A series of successful Ukrainian drone attacks targeting oil refineries and energy infrastructure inside Russia demonstrated this and inflicted economic losses. In short, the Russian military was stretched too thin to achieve its ambitious initial goals. The fifth reason is that slowly but surely, global economic sanctions are beginning to squeeze Russia's war-fighting capabilities. Initially, the Russian economy seemed resilient. However, in early 2026, the pressure entered a new, more aggressive phase. The U.S. and its allies began seizing Russian Shadow Fleet tankers transporting oil to evade sanctions. Major customers like India began reducing their oil imports due to U.S. diplomatic pressure. The result? Russia's main foreign exchange earnings from oil and gas have plummeted. The budget deficit has ballooned, and inflation remains high. Independent surveys in Russia show that citizens' primary concerns have shifted. Beyond war, the high cost of living has become a daily burden. While the military budget remains substantial, the economic foundations for long-term war are beginning to crumble. The sixth reason is the complex geopolitical landscape. Russia hopes to receive full support from the non-Western world or the global South, but the reality is not so smooth. Many countries, such as India, Brazil, and South Africa, have adopted a neutral position. They continue to trade with Russia, but refrain from providing overt military or political support. Even strategic partners like China, while not condemning the invasion, are cautious about violating core Western sanctions. On the other hand, Ukrainian diplomacy is actively seeking a solution. The Trump-Zelensky meeting in late 2025, for example, while full of optimism, has not yet produced a real breakthrough because Russia rejected the idea of a multinational monitoring force. In essence, Russia is not completely isolated, but it also lacks a strong coalition capable of turning the tide of the war. It must face Western pressure alone. The final, seventh reason is fatigue and psychological limitations within Russia. Although the government controls the narrative, reality is slowly sinking in. A survey by the official Russian agency, VTIOM, in December 2025 revealed something interesting. 55% of Russians expected the war to end by 2026. This can be read as hope, but also as a desire for the suffering to end soon. War fatigue is beginning to set in. While support for special military operations remains, the public is also concerned about the deteriorating economy. On the military side, troop morale and the high number of casualties are limiting factors. Although Russia is known for its strong defensive mentality, even that resilience has its limits. President Putin has acknowledged the economic slowdown caused by the war. These pressures are limiting Moscow's strategic options. So these 7 reasons create a strategic stalemate. Russia is too strong for Ukraine to defeat militarily, but also too weak due to these limitations for total victory. So what will happen next? Analysts predict several scenarios for 2026-2027. Perhaps a temporary ceasefire with the current front lines, or a bitter peace with Ukraine losing territory, or a protracted war. The threat of Russian nuclear weapons remains a game changer, preventing direct confrontation with NATO, but it cannot force Ukraine to surrender. Essentially, this war has become a classic war of attrition. Russia is trying to exhaust the resilience of Ukraine and its allies, while Ukraine is trying to exhaust Russia's resources and political will. Currently, neither side has the key to breaking out of the stalemate with a decisive victory. The Russia-Ukraine conflict is a profound lesson in the complexities of modern warfare, where sheer military force is no longer enough. Victory is determined by resilience, alliances, economics, and the will of the people. Which scenario do you think is most likely to occur in 2026? Will there be a peace breakthrough, or will it escalate? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy in-depth analysis like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. Videos like this require extensive research. Support us in continuing to deliver quality content. See you in the next video.